Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to LinkedIn Tuesday. It's March 10th, 2026. We're very glad you're with us this afternoon. Please note this event is being recorded. It will be on the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window will not appear in the recording. For everybody who's on Zoom today, feel free to put in your contact information. Give us your name, the position you're looking for. Give us 2 or 3 target companies. Give us your email address, your LinkedIn address. Connect with everybody else who's on the call today. Save the chat at the end of this session and connect with everybody else who's on the call, because you never know who you'll be able to help, or somebody may be able to help you in your job search. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org, a website to help those unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, I launched careerusa.org to help those around the United States. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. It is available on Amazon, or if you see me in person, I usually have copies with me. Since 2007, I've been leading and facilitating the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. That group's been around since the late 1990s. I took it over in 2007 when the prior leader landed a job. And I'll tell you about our very interesting program coming up this Friday at the end of this session. And since 2017, I've been a member of the Practice Interview Team, also known as the PIC Crew. They meet every Wednesday. Their motto is practice early, practice often. Don't wait until you have an interview. If you're able to go watch an interview, watch somebody else being interviewed, you'll learn just as much. For more information, just go to dallaspiccrew.com. Well, we have 4 outstanding speakers who talk about LinkedIn on a monthly basis. Kurt Vondermatter was supposed to be with us today, but due to he's actually at a funeral right now, so I'm going to be presenting LinkedIn Present Yourself Like a Pro. So let me get over to that menu. So we're going to talk about LinkedIn Present Yourself Like a Pro today. All right. The first thing I want to do is talk about the 3 different types of recruiters. I think it's very important that you know when somebody calls you up where they're coming from. So the 3 different kind of recruiters are an in-house recruiter, an outside contingent recruiting firm, or an outside retained search consultant. And I'll talk about the differences here. An in-house recruiter will be very busy. They are paid by the firm. They're hired. They're working, like if they're working for AT&T, they're AT&T employees, and one recruiter is trying to find scheduling people. Another recruiter is looking for in-house people to work at the stores. Somebody else may be working to find technical people to go out and fix things. So they could be handling 30 to 40 to maybe even 50 job descriptions at a time, trying to fill all these positions. They're very, very busy. They probably will rely on the applicant tracking system. So we'll talk about that in a little bit, about what you need to do to be found on an ATS system. So they're very, very busy. Now, the next type of recruiters is an outside contingency recruiting firm. What'll happen is if a firm can't find somebody, they may go and say, I'm going to give 3 or 4 or 5 different recruiting firms a chance to find this employee for me. But the difference is only the firm that lands the position gets paid. So these persons tend to also be moving very quickly, because as soon as they can find you and submit your application, if they select you, they'll get paid. If they don't get paid. So you will probably see a lot of firms like from India do it. There'll be some outside contingency firms that will just see a job description online and then just try to start filling it and getting the application applied into the job. So you've got to really question a lot of those outside contingency firms. The outside retained search consultant, what happens is only one firm is hired to fill a role. These are usually C-suite roles, CFOs, CEOs, CIOs. They're trying to find a certain person that will fit in this company. They get paid an upfront fee, and then they get paid a balance on the placement. They'll have a very good relationship with the employer because they want to hire and find the best employee they can to help the employer out. So those are the three different kinds. When you get a phone call from a recruiter, ask them, what kind of recruiter are you? Are you inside, are you contingency, or are you a search consultant? Because each one's going to handle what they do just a little bit differently. Okay, what we're going to talk about is the tip of the iceberg. LinkedIn is so immense and so involved. That's why we do LinkedIn presentations every Tuesday. We have 4 different people who talk about it because each one talks about it from a little bit different point of view. So if I had a week or more and we were together for a long time, I could talk about LinkedIn for a lot of times. Okay, so on LinkedIn, the goal here is to set up a welcoming profile for recruiters, something that's easy to read. It's got your picture on it. It's got tell somebody what your background is and possibly a little bit of personal information. Not a lot. It'd be a little bit if you run Ironmans, you may want to put that on there. I know one person that on their resume would always put in search of the perfect hamburger. And he said, you never believed how many people would call me up just to talk about the hamburger. They never offered me the job, but they want to talk about where they found the perfect hamburger at. So a little bit of personal information is okay. You want to make sure to optimize your profile so the LinkedIn search engine can find you. Keywords, job titles. We'll talk about how a recruiter enters their information in just a second. Your profile score is calculated every day. The score is based on content and activity. If you're not active on LinkedIn, you'll be lower in the ratings. You cannot see your score. LinkedIn doesn't tell you that kind of stuff, and they won't divulge the point value for any feature or activity. But there is a firm in Europe who has spent some time researching what they think things run, and I'll mention a few of those today when we're talking about LinkedIn. The search engine is looking for a mutual interest between the recruiter and the candidate. Number one, are you more likely to respond? Look at your in-mails. Are you answering your in-mails? You should always answer an in-mail to any recruiter, even if you're not interested. Just let them know, thanks, but I'm not interested. You want the search engine is going to look to see if you're connected to other people who work in that company. That's a field that recruiters can see if they're using the full-blown recruiting package on LinkedIn. If you follow the company on LinkedIn, very important to follow any company that you're interested in. And then do you have the open to work banner on, or are you telling recruiters that you're open to work? The relevance to the job being searched is basically 2 things, the title and the key skills. When a recruiter puts in for the recruiters that are paying LinkedIn recruiting package, the full-blown package, it's about $10,000 a year. And they're going to put in a couple things. They're going to put in a job title, and it's going to be one of the job titles that LinkedIn has. They don't put in like chief people person. It'll be a director of human resources or, something in that sort. They're going to use a default heading job title that's in LinkedIn. That's why you need to use the same thing. and then they're going to put in 3 or 4 skills, and then they're going to see what pops up. And first thing they'll do is they'll look at people that are open to work, and then they'll look at people that are familiar with the company to see they can find. And then if they don't, if still looking, they may put in a few more skills or something else. So that's why it's important. Job title and the skills are the most important things that the recruiter's looking for, and that you need to make sure you've got on your profile. So to be an all-star, and they don't really promote all-star status anymore, but to be a star, you've got to have a current position, a location, the industry, a summary statement, at least 5 skills. You can have up to 100, list an education, and you've got to have a headshot on there. They want a picture of you to be all-star status. In the old days, they used to show you a little circle, and if you were all-star, you were like 95% covered. You were never 100% covered, because there's always one more person that you can connect with. No matter how many connections you can have, there's always somebody else. So you're never totally done on LinkedIn. You've got to use titles that LinkedIn is standardized. Look at the open to work section. When you open that up and fill it in, you can pick up the 5 job titles of what you're interested in. Those are the job titles that you should have in your headline banner, because that's what recruiters are going to be searching for. You want to have multiple titles in your headline. I'll show you that in just a second. And I think you want the open to work banner on. The reason being is less than 50% of recruiters pay for the recruiting package. It's very expensive. So the recruiters who are not using it, how are they going to know if you're open to work if they don't see you have the open to work banner on? Now, years ago, it probably was you just didn't want to do it because you were embarrassed or whatever. But nowadays, if you're out looking for a job, put that open to work banner on her. In addition, you never know who's going to be looking for you in a one of your friends may see your profile and go, oh, I didn't know Rob was out looking for a job right now. Oh, I'm going to reach out to Rob. We had a good working relationship back then. So you want to let everybody know that you're working. And then be sure to add additional titles in your experience section. And I'll talk about that in just a moment. I like to use this little title generator. I think it's something that helps. I like to start all the titles and everything with an adjective: accomplished, award-winning, engaging, experienced, tenacious, something. And then add a couple job titles using LinkedIn job titles, and then add a little sentence or a little couple words to talk about what value do you bring, that you specialize in doing this, or building teams, or developing brand awareness. So the example is like at the very end on the right-hand side, the dynamic program manager driving brand awareness through integrated marketing. So you tell somebody a little bit more about what it is you do, except just being a project manager. So here on my banner, you can see that I've put down, I started with an action verb, accomplished. I'm a manufacturing manager, an operation manager, a general manager, and then a couple of little sayings. I do things better, faster, and smarter. And I'm a speaker at career workshops, seminars, and national conventions to tell people what it is I do. You have up to 220 characters. You don't need to use them all, but I recommend probably at least 3 sentences to really tell somebody what it is you do and how you stand out. I also want to point out next to my name, you see that little check mark, and that's where I have been verified using Clear ID that this is me, this is truly me. And I recommend, if you haven't verified your profile, you probably should do that. You do need to use your cell phone when you do it, because you'll have to take a picture of your driver's license or your passport. That information is not passed along, but if a recruiter was to reach out to you and they are not verified, I would question who's reaching out to you. All right, so do you have a hard name to pronounce? Let me go to Nicole's profile here. And this is one of the nicest things I think they added. This little speaker button over here, when you click on it, opens a couple things about who she was, when she joined, when she entered her contact information. But if you want to hear her name,
Nicole Bonanno. Nicole Bonanno.
so you don't have to guess, you don't have to guess how to pronounce somebody's name. So I think that's a really great way to do things. And I think everybody needs to really consider, if you have a hard to pronounce name, put something in there. Once again, you do need to use a cell phone to do it. You can't use the PC or tablet app. You've got to have a cell phone that records your voice. Also, if you hard to pronounce name, I love this one. How would you pronounce his last name if you didn't see what was in parentheses? You want to put down the name that you want people to call you. So Urrutia, I would have never known how to pronounce his last name. And if I was a recruiter, if I had a hard to pronounce name, I would go and pick another candidate who had an easier to pronounce name so that it would be easy for me to reach out. I wouldn't want to butcher somebody's name who I didn't know. So I highly recommend doing this. Make it easy for the recruiter or if somebody finding you on LinkedIn to be able to reach out to you. All right, here's some headshots. The first few are not very good. This one, the face is good, but it's blurry because he's got it with too much light in the background and too much too much detail in the background. This one is fine for Facebook, but this is not a LinkedIn photo. You can see the face, but you've got too much in the background. This is the CIO of a company or CFO, and what she did was CEO of a company. It's too far away. You only need shoulders up on LinkedIn. This one is Gail. Gail who? Is it he Gail or she Gail? So, only use a picture of you. Now, this guy put the open to work banner on, and this is great, but the problem is he's too far away. It looks like he's playing on a stand-up chessboard of some sort. It's too far. I want to see somebody's face. I use LinkedIn as like my personal directory. If you send me an email and I don't know who you are, I'll look you up on LinkedIn and go, oh yeah, I remember that face. That was Thomas who was on my LinkedIn presentation a few weeks ago. So that's how I use it. Here's a black and white photo. I like the photo. The only problem is I would reverse the photo so I'm looking into my LinkedIn profile. Think about it. Your photo's in the upper left-hand corner. You don't want to be looking off the screen. You want to be looking in to the detail of your information. This is a good headshot. I know who this is. She's open to work. This is great. And this is a really good photo. This person's looking directly at the camera and looking into the profile, having your shoulders turned into the profile to lead you into that. So connection request. I recommend you get over 500 connections because once you hit 501 connections, your number is generic with everybody else. You don't know how many connections somebody has. I've got over 4,000 connections, but that's not a big deal. Back when LinkedIn started years ago, it was a race to see who could have the most connections. And people with 10,000, 12,000, 20,000 connections. So that's why LinkedIn changed it so you don't see that number anymore. And it's not a race to see how many people you can connect with. Most people the people you connect with should be in a similar industry or a job function to your search goals. Connect with people at companies you're interested in. Connect with people who do the kinds of things you do. Connect with everybody else on this call today. because they may be able to help you out. Be sure to add recruiters who work in target companies. So when you're looking up a company, look up, just show me recruiters who work at this particular company and connect with a bunch of those. Also, don't be afraid to connect with the director of human resources, because if you were to connect with them and they connect with you and you send them a note, hey, I saw this position, I'm interested. Can you please forward my profile to the person who's working on this? They'll push that job lead down and you have better chance of being connected. Add people with titles that could denote hiring manager status at target companies. Don't be afraid of who you're linking, who you're trying to connect with. If you're interested in the company, you want to reach out to as many people as possible. Your contact information. This drives spot. If the one thing drives me crazy about LinkedIn, it's this. I looked up people last Friday. I had a recruiter that joined my Friday North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group meeting. All he submitted was his LinkedIn address. Well, the problem is I'm not a first degree connection with that person, so I couldn't see everything in the white box that you see here. Only first degree connections can see this. It's very important to put your information in the about section. The recruiter had no contact information, so there was no way for me to get a phone number or an email to reach out to that recruiter. So make sure, look at your about section and make sure your phone number is in there, and we'll talk about that again in just a second. So here's my profile. I have a banner that I set up that tells a story. It tells who I am. I have a word cloud. I used my resume and it produced this word cloud that summarizes what I do. I put my email and phone number in my word cloud and in my banner photo because I wanted to make it easy for people to reach out to me. And of course, I put a copy of my book because I'm always promoting my book. There's a simple program you can use to make your own banner. It's called canva.com. It's a free program. You do need to create a login to use it, but you don't have to pay for the paid version unless you want more options. And what you'll do is when you go to Canva, you'll hit the question mark and you'll want a LinkedIn banner, and it'll come up with the right size. And then you can pull in all sorts of information and create your own interesting banner that talks about who you are. All right, the about section, very, very important. This is going to tell people who you are, what you do, and how you can help them. You have up to 2,600 characters, so you've got plenty of information here. You want to write it in first person. How would you be telling somebody who you are and what you do? Keep the paragraphs to no more than 3 lines each. People do not read a big block of text. They scan through stuff, and 3 lines is easy to make it easy for that to do that. Put your contact information in here. Now, one of the people who teaches LinkedIn for us says put it on the very top line. I believe just put it on, as long as you have a call to action. Let's connect. How can I help your company? Reach out to me. Let's, put something in there. I'm okay with it being towards the bottom. And then as you see at the very, very bottom, I've added all these keywords that talk about things that I've done that I could do that people may search for. So that if somebody searches for my profile with one of these keywords, I'm going to pop up. Those keywords are also in my work descriptions under each one of the jobs. Keywords are so very, very important about your experience and your about section. The top skills that employees want to see in 2026, I just looked this up today. They want to see AI and digital literacy. You've got to mention it when you go in for an interview. How is your company using AI? What are your rules? and then be able to talk about how you've used AI in the past. Adaptability and flexibility, analytical and critical thinking, emotional intelligence and empathy, communication skills, data. Let me get them all on here. I don't know why I didn't. Oops. Get back here one second. Data and analysis, leadership and influence, cybersecurity, project management, and creativity and innovation. Those are the top 10 skills according to Google that people want to see on resumes in 2026. So in your skill and endorsement section, you want to show you can have up to 100 skills. I recommend 90 to 95 because you may find another skill you want to add. And if you've got 100, you've got to go delete one. So never use them all. One of the best things that LinkedIn ever did is they allow you to put skills for each job that you post. So you can talk about 5 to 6 the most important skills for that particular job. You've got to have a maximum 2 skills are shown on the profile when you scroll down somebody's profile. I don't think anybody else is ever going to open up those skills. So you put them on there so you're found when the recruiter types in the skills for the profile, but nobody's going to open up and look down and really see what you're doing. Skills should include both technical and managerial soft skills. Just don't make them all one kind of skill. You don't need the Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel. Everybody does it. You don't have to use PowerPoint because everybody considers everybody knowledgeable on those things. You should alphabetize them for easier reading. So beside the top 2 skills that you pull up to the very top of your LinkedIn profile, the rest of them alphabetize them so that if somebody does open them up, it'll be easier for them to read. LinkedIn categorizes skills into sections and you cannot move them from one section to another. And also you want to have 2 or 3 current recommendations from 2023, 24, 25, 26, because I'll see profiles and the last time it was up, recommendation was from 2014. Well, that's not going to work anymore. We want to see current recommendations. So if you got an old recommendation, reach back out to that person and ask that person, hey, would you re-recommend me for what we did, 10, 12 years ago? So so it's updated on my profile. One of the settings you want to make sure you adjust as you're working on your profile is shared job changes, education changes, and work anniversaries from profile. I would turn this off when you're trying to really make your profile most robust, because if you don't, every time you make a change, it'll go out to all of your connections. Well, you'll bug them if they see your name popping up 20 times because you've made 20 changes to your profile. So turn this off, make your changes, and then if you want to turn it back on at the end, you can do that when you're not making changes all the time. Back when LinkedIn didn't restrict the number of personal notes you could have, I always said you've got to send a personal note with every LinkedIn connection request. You can't so you don't want to send a generic request, because if you do, this generic pops up. Personally, I won't connect with anybody who doesn't send me a personal note. Well, so how do you do that nowadays? On LinkedIn, if you see a white connect button, it sends the generic invitation. If you send a blue connect button, so what you want to do is click on the person's face, the profile will open up, and then you can see a blue connect button. When you click on a blue connect button on a PC or Mac, you will be able to, I have an option to send a personal note. Now on a cell phone, it's the exact opposite. I don't know why. If you're using the cell phone, if you see the blue connect button, it'll send a generic invitation. You've got to find the white connect button, go to their profile, to try to send them a direct message. LinkedIn restricts personal notes each month with the free version. They really calmed it down. I think it's like maybe 5 a month now. So they've made it very restrictive. If you want to get a paid version, you can get a paid version for a couple months while you're using it and then go back to the free version. I've always just used the free version my whole time. So if you want to try to connect with somebody, look and see if they have their email address in the about section and send them a personal note. I'd like to connect with you. I'm going to send you a connection request. Let's connect. Tell them why you want to connect. The other thing you can do is see what groups that person is part of and then join their group. And then you can send them an email through, you can send them a personal note through the group connection to be able to make a connection with somebody. Every day you want to develop a daily routine, 15 to 30 minutes a day on LinkedIn, because you want to clear the red. You want to click, as soon as you click on the home tab, you'll be able to see, and the red tab will go away. Here it says I have 4 network connections. I have to go check who those are, and I'll look at those. If I have any messages, I always check my messages and then try to check my notifications at least once a week, just to clear them out. So 15 to 30 minutes a day is all you need. You're going to find your next job networking with people, reaching out, making phone calls. So after you've connected with somebody, then you want to have a phone call. You want to have a meeting if you can, meet them at Starbucks or something. Other things you want to do while you're on LinkedIn is you want to like, share, or comment on 3 to 5 posts a day. That will show LinkedIn that you're active. If you're active, you'll show higher up in profiles. You want to post 1 or 2 articles per week. I recommend you use feedly.com. It's a great feed aggregator. You tell it what topics you'd like to talk about, and we'll come up with articles that have been written by other people. You can copy that URL from the article, put it in LinkedIn, and then push it down, and on top, put in comments of why you agree with this article, why you want to share it with people. Put some text into it to share. And then you want to follow companies' pages, because the reason for that is recruiters can see when they look on the recruiting package, they can see when they do a search, oh, of the 100 people that I came up in my search, 25 of them follow my company. I'm going to look at those 25 people first because they already know about my company, and I'll see if I want to select any one of those first before I go to the wider view. Boolean modifiers. I use this all the time. It's extremely effective. You can use this on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, anything. You can use it anywhere there's a search box. The keywords are capital AND, capital OR, capital NOT, the quotes, and the parentheses. It is extremely good. And you'll see in the comment or the little search field up at the top, they're looking for a recruiter and technology. So they want anything that shows up in the recruiter, anything that has technology in it, but not, and they're putting the following in a quotes, oil and gas. So anything with oil and gas will get rejected. So you can put multiple things. When I go to national conventions all the time and I'm meeting people and pulling up their LinkedIn profile to talk about it, I can't find them because I'm not connected to them. But I can type in their name. I type a AND, capital AND, and the name of their company that they tell me, and boom, up will come their profile. So it's really a handy way to find things. Like I said, you can use this anywhere as a search box, LinkedIn, Google. I use it on Google all the time, Firefox, whatever you're using to search things. All right, that's as far as I want to go. Just want to mention you can check out Career DFW and CareerUSA.org. We've got information on both things there. Let me get back to my presentation here. So next week, our speaker is going to be Ruth Lipsky. She's going to talk about LinkedIn tools for job seekers. She's a recruiter. She works for Lee Heck Harrison. She works with job seekers on a daily basis. So feel free to join us. She's got a lot of really good information on uh, that information. The practice interview team, Career DFW and Career USA, we're putting on training a couple days a week. Tomorrow, the practice interview team will be meeting in person only at Christ United Methodist Church in Plano. If you live in the DFW area, come join us from 1 to 3 o'clock. This is a great way to expand your interviewing skills. By watching somebody else being interviewed, you will learn a lot. The practice interview team is meeting online only on the fourth Wednesday of the month. So if you live outside the DFW area, you can always join them on the fourth Wednesday and see that what they're interviewing. They usually interview 3 different candidates every week. This Friday at the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group, Jim McConnell will be with us to talk about guarding your career search, navigating security, and avoiding scams. He's a security expert, and he's going to highlight the kinds of things you need to be careful of when you just don't click on things randomly without seeing them. So that'll be this Friday at 9:30 Central Time. Next Tuesday, for those of you who are interested, next Tuesday on the March 16th, I'll be at the Career Care Network, part of St. Andrew's Church. I'm going to talk about the 4 areas of your job search that you need to focus on. I think there's certain things you've got to do first, second, third in an order to be able to do this. And I just want to, I'm going to talk about what those are. In fact, I have a 5th area that I can't decide if it should be first or second. So come join us next Monday at 2 o'clock. And it's only on Zoom, and you can find the information on the Career USA or the Career DFW calendars. It'll be in the box on the left-hand side. You're welcome to join the Career DFW or CareerUSA.org LinkedIn groups. I started each one when I started the website. We've got over 16,000 members in the Career DFW group. You do not need to live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to join that group, but I will look at your profile. And if your profile is not mostly complete, I will deny you entry, because while you're on LinkedIn, if your profile is not mostly complete, spend a couple hours and get it complete. Fill it up. This session has been recorded. It will be on the Career USA YouTube channel later this afternoon or tomorrow. If you want to, you can subscribe to the channel. That way, every time we post a new video, you'll find out all about it. Oh, I did mention this talk with Jim McConnell on Friday will not be recorded. So if you want to see it, you will need to watch it live next Friday. All right, on the Career USA YouTube channel, click on playlist. Every video that I post goes into one of 7 different playlists. And then at the very bottom, we see that view full playlist, and under LinkedIn, click there and you'll be able to see the date in chronological order and the speakers that have allowed us to post their videos on LinkedIn and their topics. If you're not receiving emails about our workshops and you don't like to join the Career USA mailing list, just scan this QR code and send a blank email, or just send a blank email to Career USA, the + subscribe at groups.io. You'll never be spammed because I control the list and I keep tight control over it, but you'll find out what we're doing every week and links in that email. Please remember, Career DFW is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Career USA is a Career DFW website. We have no full or part-time employees. All of our speakers do this for free. They just want to help you. Everything I've done over the last 17 years has just been to help you land your next great opportunity. So thank you very much for joining us today. If you want to hang on, if people want to hang on, I can answer a few questions. I'll call up my LinkedIn page and we can talk about that. I do have one, let me stop the recording here.